final whistle just blew at Old Trafford. The season is officially over. And right now, in just a matter of hours, Manchester United's entire summer transfer window is taking shape in real time. This is definitely not your average quiet Sunday afternoon at the club. This is the exact kind of day where massive decisions happen, futures get locked in, and the direction of this massive football club finally becomes crystal clear. Rasmus Hojlund just said his goodbyes. Michael Carrick spoke carefully about his future too. Fresh transfer targets are emerging, contract extensions are locked down, and Bruno Fernandes is being mentioned in the same breath as the greatest players to ever wear that red shirt. Things are moving fast today. If you blink, you might just miss the entire picture. Let us go through every piece of Manchester United news that dropped today, step by step. I will give you my honest breakdown on what these developments actually mean for the club this summer. Before diving into the details, let us get straight about what is at stake. Manchester United just wrapped up third place in the Premier League. It is an incredible turnaround from last year's absolute chaos. But finishing third does not guarantee a single thing going forward. The transfer window opens, and the pressure to build on this spot is just massive. Every call made before next season kicks off will define if this progress continues or completely crashes. One bad manager decision, one terrible transfer deal, one failed contract negotiation, and United could easily slip right back into the heavy instability that defined the Amorim era. Make the right moves, and this could honestly be the start of something genuinely special. If you want this kind of deep breakdown every single time big Manchester United news breaks, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. We break football news down exactly how it deserves to be handled. No fake noise, no blind guessing, just the hard facts and what they really mean. Let us get right into it. Rasmus Hojlund says goodbye to United. Fabrizio Romano, basically the most trusted name in transfer news, posted a direct statement from the player himself. Hojlund spoke out, and I am reading this carefully because every single word really matters here. He said, "I am officially a Napoli player now, and I am saying goodbye to Manchester United." It feels strange, because for a year, I already felt like a Napoli player. The way you fans supported me made me feel at home. It helped me find my confidence again, and that is something I am so incredibly grateful for. Saying goodbye to Manchester United feels pretty emotional. Getting to play at Old Trafford in that famous red shirt really was my childhood dream coming true. Today marks a fresh, confident start, where I will give absolutely everything to Napoli. But it is also a massive thank you to all the United fans, players and staff who made that little kid's big dream a reality. Time for new dreams. Let us chase them. Here is my take on that. His statement reveals a ton, not just about his emotional bond with the club, but also about the hidden timeline behind this entire Napoli deal. He admits that for the entire last year, he already felt like a Napoli player. That proves this transfer has been slowly moving behind the scenes for months. This was absolutely not some rushed, last-minute decision. The groundwork was laid down, the relationship with Napoli was built, and Hojlund mentally moved on way before it ever went public. What this really screams is that United's striker situation needs serious, urgent attention this summer. Hojlund is out the door. Confirmed. Now that gap must be filled, and filled right. United absolutely cannot start next season missing a reliable centre-forward, especially if they are chasing Champions League football and actually want to compete across multiple tough fronts. The emotion in his goodbye feels genuine and respectful. Zero bitterness. No angry complaints about the club's management or his playing time on the pitch. That shows United managed this exit perfectly. Clean, professional, and handled with real dignity on both sides. Now, moving on to Elliot Anderson's future. Nottingham Forest manager Victor Pereira was asked point blank if Elliot Anderson is staying put. Here was his direct response. Will Elliot Anderson stick around? I honestly do not have that answer. The transfer market is the market. Out there, absolutely anything is possible. What I can say is that the club definitely wants him to keep playing for us. Here is my read. Pereira is playing it safe, and that hesitation speaks volumes. When a manager admits they want to keep a guy but refuses to guarantee it, that tells you the player's future is totally up in the air. Forest clearly want him, but wanting a player and actually keeping them during a ruthless summer transfer window are two completely different realities. Publicly admitting they are desperate to hold on to Anderson actually drops Forest into a much weaker negotiating spot. Any team chasing Anderson knows Forest really want to keep him. Buyers must strike fast and push hard to pry him away. So Manchester United's quiet interest in Anderson, which we will look at next, gets way more intriguing with that context in mind. A United fan recently begged Elliot Anderson to sign, This shot shows a supporter speaking directly to him post-match. They said, "Sign the contract. See you in June. Do not join Man City, man. Do not go to that soulless club. This is a real club." Look, this is clearly just one passionate fan talking, not an official club stance. We have to view it that way. But it completely captures the current fan base mood. Supporters genuinely want to see Anderson make that move to Old Trafford. Even more crucial, throwing Manchester City's name in there as a rival destination is huge. It shows the fans know there is a massive bidding war brewing for him. If City are seriously circling, United's recruitment team must act decisively. They cannot just sit around letting rival clubs buddy up with Anderson and his agents. Then, Elliot Anderson posted an Instagram photo standing right next to Kobbie Mainoo shortly after the game. He left out a caption, but the picture alone sparked crazy attention online. Frankly, in modern football, social media is half the transfer conversation. Footballers and their agents know exactly what a public post means. Anderson dropping a photo specifically with Kobbie Mainoo, one of Manchester United's brightest young talents, isn't something you just write off as a coincidence. Maybe it's just mutual respect after battling it out on the pitch. Or maybe it's a very calculated piece of transfer positioning. Either way, it fuels the ongoing rumours. Anderson looks open to a Manchester United move, or at the very least, he's keeping that door wide open. Manchester United eyeing Federico Valverde and Aurelien Tchouaméni. The Transfer News live feed just dropped this update. United are keeping a close watch on Federico Valverde's situation in Madrid. They might try to capitalise on the recent dressing room drama at the Bernabeu. The club is weighing up a fresh approach for the midfielder. Meanwhile, they're discussing Aurelien Tchouameni internally as a backup plan. Football Insider is the source here. Looking at this logically, the most important thing to remember is, it's just a rumour. Nothing official has backed this up yet. Now, Football Insider holds weight in the British transfer market, but hearing about interest and monitoring is miles away from a signed contract or even serious negotiations. Still, United wanting Valverde makes total sense on paper. The guy is a world-class midfielder packed with endless running power, elite technique, and pure tactical brains. If there's actual friction inside that Real Madrid dressing room like the reports claim, United's transfer team would be entirely negligent not to test the waters. Seeing Tchouameni as the backup choice is fascinating too, because both of these players offer completely different styles. One is a relentless box-to-box engine. The other operates as a pure defensive anchor. The fact the front office is debating both tells you something. They haven't quite figured out exactly what kind of midfielder they actually need, and the board needs to sort that out before dropping massive cash in the centre of the park. José Mourinho reportedly eyeing Marcus Rashford for Real Madrid. Live transfer updates claim José Mourinho is plotting a shock swoop to take Marcus Rashford to Real Madrid. This comes as Barcelona keeps dragging their feet over a permanent signing. Mourinho managed Rashford back in his United days, and they always had a solid connection. The Independent broke this story. Now, the key word to remember here is considering. Nobody has confirmed this transfer yet. There is no signed paperwork. It's just rumoured interest from a boss tied to the Real Madrid dugout, chasing a player whose future is still completely up in the air. But it proves one thing for certain. Rashford's situation is incredibly messy. Barcelona brought him in on loan with a buy option, but they are clearly stalling on pulling the trigger. When a giant like Barcelona stalls, rivals smell blood. If Mourinho actually takes the reins at Madrid, his history with Rashford changes the entire game. For Manchester United, this just adds drama to an exit that feels more and more inevitable by the day. The front office desperately needs answers. Whether they sell him off to Barcelona for good, ship him to Real Madrid, or do something else entirely, cashing in on him brings massive funds to rebuild the squad. Manchester United eyeing Ousmane Diomande. The Stretty End account just shared these details. United are showing heavy interest in sporting CP centre-back Ousmane Diomande. They've reportedly flown scouts out to watch him multiple times this year. Diomande has an €80 million release clause, but whispers say Sporting might settle for something around €40 to €50 million when the summer window opens. Breaking this down, that's a massive piece of transfer gossip. Sending scouts to multiple games shows real intent. It goes way past just watching YouTube highlights in an office. It proves they are doing serious homework. That €80 million buyout is steep, but the idea that Sporting might accept 40 to 50 million euros changes things completely. If that price drop is true, United could lock down a top-tier defender for a genuine bargain in today's inflated transfer market. Centre-back has been a massive headache at Old Trafford for years now. If Diomande is a prospect the scouts have been studying closely for weeks, that shows real faith in his talent. It's not just a passing glance. Also, Aston Villa jumps back into the race for Marcus Rashford. The MUFC update account posted this. Marcus Rashford heading to Aston Villa is officially back on the radar. His loan deal in Barcelona carries a €30 million buy option, expiring on June 15th. Rashford and Barca both want to make it permanent, but the finances are causing a massive headache. If United refuse to drop their asking price, we have a stalemate. Analysing this, that June 15th deadline is the absolute boiling point. That date is creeping up fast. Barca's clause sits at €30 million, but the Red Devils clearly want a bigger cheque for Rashford. The space between what Barca can spend and what United demands is the roadblock. If they don't meet in the middle by June 15th, the deal dies entirely. After that, it's open season. Rashford either returns from loan, enters free agency talks, or teams like Aston Villa finally swoop in to steal him. Villa creeping back into the headlines proves they are watching like hawks. They are fully ready to pounce the second that Barcelona deal shatters. For Manchester United, getting answers before that deadline is vital. Having the Rashford drama drag through the entire summer window helps absolutely no one. Michael Carrick just spoke on his United future. When asked about staying as manager, Carrick said, "Over the coming days, there will be clarity. Today was just about securing the result. Whatever the news is, I am sure you will hear it soon." Looking at those words, that is a perfectly calculated answer. He clearly knows way more than he is letting on. Carrick isn't sweating it. He isn't making public demands, and he certainly isn't using the media to apply pressure. The man is handling a deeply uncertain situation with absolute composure. Saying we will have clarity in the coming days confirms one thing. Talks between Michael Carrick and the Manchester United board are either happening right now or starting very soon. He isn't kept in the dark about his managerial future. Look closely, this is a guy carefully managing the flow of information behind the scenes. Keeping that level of emotional control under the media spotlight is exactly what you want in a head coach. Plus, he finished the campaign strong. He addressed the supporters directly, ensuring the endless noise surrounding his future never bled into the squad's performance on the pitch. That is top-tier professionalism. Meanwhile, Steve Holland just signed a brand new contract at Manchester United. Fabrizio Romano broke the news. Regarded as a vital piece of Carrick's coaching setup, Holland is staying put. He signed a deal until June 2028, with an option for 2029. Here is my take. This confirms a massive level of institutional commitment. Handing a backroom coach a deal running to 2028 with an extra option is no quick fix. That is a heavy statement of intent from the United boardroom. It also reveals something massive regarding Michael Carrick and his own future. You don't lock down a manager's right-hand man on a multi-year deal if you plan on sacking the boss. The logic there simply falls apart. Holland staying practically screams that Carrick is staying too. These are the subtle details that separate real football analysis from knee-jerk headline reactions. That coaching contract tells us way more about Carrick's fate than any post-match press conference ever could. Now, Gary Neville on Bruno Fernandes and the iconic number 7. Gary Neville recently dropped 2 detailed thoughts on the Portuguese playmaker, sharing a single theme. Neville said he actually wishes Bruno wore the number 7 kit. He believes the midfielder is genuinely worthy of carrying the weight of that legendary shirt. Think about Cantona, Robson, George Best, David Beckham, all those absolute giants who wore that number. Bruno wears 8 right now. Neville isn't demanding a switch, but notes the guy has that commanding presence, shoulders back, chest out. Honestly, he deserves every bit of praise he gets. The one thing you can never question about Bruno is his heart. He cares deeply, and the passion is always bleeding through. Let's break this down. Neville doesn't just hand out compliments for fun. He remains one of the sharpest, most demanding analytical voices in British football media. Dropping a player's name next to Cantona, Beckham, Best and Robson, that isn't some throwaway remark. That is a heavily considered judgment. Highlighting how Fernandes wears 8, but carries the sheer aura and match-winning impact of a traditional United 7 is fascinating. It's all about legacy. Neville doesn't literally want a squad number swap. He's making a much deeper point about how we should value and remember Bruno's time at Old Trafford. Highlighting his relentless passion matters too. During a season where Carrick completely rebuilt the club's dressing room culture, Fernandes stood right at the centre. His elite technical numbers, vocal leadership, and fiery attitude form the absolute backbone of this squad's revival. Moving on to Gary Lineker, discussing Bruno and the Footballer of the Year award. Lineker shared this exact perspective. Bruno Fernandes is purely a joy to watch on the pitch. I seriously consider him a massive contender for Footballer of the Year. People normally hand these trophies to guys on title-winning sides, but this is about naming the best individual player outright. Honestly, I find it incredibly tough to bet against him. He'd definitely secure my vote. The man is simply brilliant to watch. His vision and passing range are absolutely exquisite. Here is the takeaway. Gary Lineker has been one of the most respected voices in world football for decades. His opinion on these individual honours holds serious weight, saying Bruno gets his vote for the top award, even without United lifting the Premier League trophy, that is a principled stand. He believes sheer individual brilliance deserves the spotlight, ignoring team accolades, highlighting that exquisite passing range perfectly backs up Peter Schmeichel's point after the Nottingham Forest game. Bruno is constantly serving up high-quality scoring chances. His creative numbers this year are staggering, and hearing it from football's elite just validates it. Next up, Bruno himself talking about breaking the assist record. When reporters asked about hitting his 21st assist, the captain answered simply, "We'll see about number 21. Like I said before, a milestone doesn't alter my style of play at all. I'll just keep trying to carve out chances for my teammates. I hope we reach it, but if we don't, I'm already thrilled." Looking at this closely, that is the exact mindset of a professional peaking at the highest level. He isn't hunting down personal milestones if it hurts the squad. He stays locked on the process, creating danger, and fully trusting the statistics will naturally follow. That unselfish mentality, paired with his lethal attacking numbers, is precisely what a rebuilding football club demands from its true captain. Being totally content whether he breaks the record or not shows massive maturity in his playstyle. This isn't a guy padding his stats. This is a player who bleeds for the final scoreline. It proves Gary Neville entirely right. Moving over to France, Mason Greenwood was just crowned Marseille's Player of the Season. Fan channels are reporting this. Greenwood takes Marseille's top honour. 26 goals, 12 assists. That's 38 total goal contributions for the campaign. French outlet L'Équipe claims that if Greenwood departs, Marseille will demand €80 million or higher. They genuinely view him as one of world football's premier wingers. Manchester United famously hold a 40 to 50% sell-on clause in that contract. They are lined up to pocket a massive fee from any future transfer. Here's my take. This story carries massive financial weight for Manchester United. 38 goals and assists in one single season is just an absolute masterclass. That puts Greenwood right up there with European football's elite attackers right now. A 40 to 50% sell-on clause is an absolute goldmine. If Marseille slap an €80 million price tag on him, we're talking about United pocketing anywhere from 32 to 40 million euros, all from a forward who doesn't even wear the shirt anymore. That's a huge cash injection ahead of what will surely be a very expensive summer transfer window, and it lands in their lap just by holding firm to the original exit deal. Meanwhile, Michael Carrick just set himself miles apart from Ruben Amorim in his final season speech. Let's dive deeper into a couple of reports breaking down the chaos at Old Trafford on the final day. Here's the real story behind Michael Carrick's end-of-season address. He stood right there facing the Old Trafford faithful after the last home fixture wrapped up and delivered a message that completely flipped the script on what Ruben Amorim tried in that exact spot last year. Last year, Amorim faced those same fans after a brutal Europa League final loss and a dismal 15th place Premier League finish. His reaction right then? Swearing to the crowd that the glory days were just around the corner. It was this intense, fiery promise that the supporters instantly bought into. The only problem? Those good days never actually showed up. Instead, they suffered a brutal defeat to Grimsby and choked at home against a 10-man Everton squad. The promise felt completely empty. Amorim's habit of wildly swinging between extreme highs and crushing lows, smashing televisions after losses, and battling reporters after tiny winning streaks created this toxic emotional roller coaster that dragged the whole club down. Carrick played it entirely differently. He stepped out, clapped the fans, paid tribute to the guys leaving, let the season's results do the talking, and just walked off. No massive promises, no dramatic speeches about the future, just a calm, level-headed nod to what they actually achieved. showing real respect for everyone involved. Everything points to this being Carrick's core blueprint. You can't let your ego explode when you win, or completely crumble when you lose. That rock-solid mental balance is exactly what a modern manager needs. And that vibe trickles right down to the dressing room. The payoff this year? A United squad that looks miles more settled, playing with total confidence and sharp focus. They aren't riding a crazy emotional pendulum dragged by a boss who can't keep his own feelings in check. They're backing a leader who absorbs results logically and just keeps moving forward. And the kicker here? Carrick didn't have to sell them any fake dreams. His track record did the talking. 11 league wins in 16 games, snagging third place, and building a squad with serious belief and structure. In this case, the results screamed way louder than any microphone speech ever could. Peter Schmeichel just pinpointed the one glaring issue from United's win over Nottingham Forest. Here is the raw truth about that 3-2 victory against Nottingham Forest. They played brilliantly for huge chunks of the match, but honestly, that final score should have been way more of a blowout. Peter Schmeichel, easily one of the greatest keepers in club history, whose word carries heavy weight, called the game fine entertainment. But he didn't stop there. He pointed out a massive flaw regarding the sheer number of chances left begging. In his eyes, that scoreline should have been an absolute demolition. Bruno Fernandes was carving out chance after chance all game long, especially before halftime. The forwards kept blowing the golden chances Bruno served up. That sloppy finishing kept Forest alive, handed them 2 goals, and made the final minutes incredibly nerve-wracking. Schmeichel joked it easily could have ended 7-6 just looking at the attacking stats, proving exactly how wildly open the midfield was and how many sitters got completely wasted. Post-match, Carrick owned up to the crazy entertainment value but never made excuses for the tight finish. He just spoke with quiet confidence. He talked about the magic of Old Trafford and how surreal the atmosphere has been lately and praised the squad for a massive shift. But notice what he didn't do. He didn't overthink the tactics or feed the fans empty promises. He took the win, thanked the stands, and kept his words locked entirely on the reality of the performance. Pair Schmeichel's blunt honesty with Carrick's ice-cold calm, and you get a beautifully clear picture of a football club finally heading in the right direction. They can bluntly call out their terrible finishing and blown chances, while still celebrating the massive leaps forward this squad has taken all year. Next up is Brighton. Going into that clash sitting third in the table with the wind at their backs, a drama-free dressing room, and a boss fully backed by his staff that is a rock-solid foundation. Zooming out on all today's news, the Manchester United project is showing steady, controlled growth with a sharp focus on the summer window. Hojlund is off to Napoli. His departure is locked in, handled with pure class by everybody. So, a new number 9 is now mandatory. Plus, Steve Holland just penned a deal until 2028. That new contract, paired with Carrick hinting that big news is dropping soon, all but guarantees Carrick is getting the permanent managerial job any day now. Bruno Fernandes is finally getting his flowers as one of the best players in the Premier League this season. Gary Neville, Gary Lineker, and Peter Schmeichel are all singing his praises. Look, he is the creative heartbeat of this entire Manchester United rebuild. The transfer market is already moving. Valverde and Tchouameni are on the midfield radar, though both are just whispers right now. At the back, Sporting's Diomande is being heavily scouted. Anderson is in limbo at Forest, and United fans are practically begging the club to sign him. Rashford is still the most complicated piece of business left. Barcelona has a permanent clause expiring on June 15th, and Aston Villa just jumped back into the race. Meanwhile, Mason Greenwood's massive season over at Marseille means United could cash in big time, thanks to a very generous sell-on clause. The summer window is officially here. Big calls are being made, and for the first time in years, Manchester United actually look stable. They have real momentum. This is Marcus United Analyst. If you got something out of this breakdown, please hit subscribe and let me know down in the comments which of these transfer stories you want me to cover next. I will catch you in the next video.